Welcome to the Fire Sprinkler Podcast with Chris and Logan. This episode of the Fire Sprinkler Podcast is brought to you by FSC iCalc. FSC engineers have been in fire protection since 1979. Now, they're sharing their internal calculation platform to help contractors and engineers like you improve their accuracy, reduce liability, and present reports faster. Get your 30-day free trial when you sign up now with my link at www.fsc-icalc.com/podcast. That's www.fsc-icalc.com/podcast. Hey everybody, and thanks for tuning into this episode of the Fire Sprinkler Podcast. On this episode, I traveled to Easton, Pennsylvania to tour the Victaulic headquarters and manufacturing facility. Victaulic is celebrating its 100th anniversary this year, being founded in 1919. I had a chance to tour the manufacturing facility and meet the people that do everything from pour the molten metal material into the castings to the people buffing the final painting on the products. We met the folks in research and development, saw the direction that Victaulic is looking towards in the future. Overall, it was good to see how and where the products are getting manufactured, as well as the level of care that surrounds the company. It was a very family-like atmosphere. Although hundreds of employees on site, it seemed like everybody knew each other's name. Marco and Jason, the Canadian representatives that came with us, knew the names of the guys on the foundry floor. People passing in the hallways, they knew their names. It was really awesome. For the podcast, I sat down with Susan Schierwagen and Chris Kvistad and discussed the history of the Victaulic brand. Things like when they entered the fire protection industry, future products they have coming out. We had a great conversation about that. We also talked about a few things that they're going to be releasing soon. So without further ado, here is my conversation with the Victaulic Company. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this episode of the Fire Sprinkler Podcast. We are in Easton, Pennsylvania at Victaulic's headquarters with Susan Schierwagen, the Vice President of Product Development for the fire products, and Chris Kvistad, the Product Manager for VicFlex. Guys, how are you today?
Doing well.
Susan, why don't you start by telling us the history of Victaulic?
Starting this year, we are actually celebrating our 100th birthday.
Happy birthday.
Year in the business. Victaulic has been in the pipe joining business for 100 years now, so we're very excited to celebrate that. In 1952, we actually attained our first UL listing for grooved end couplings, and in 1960s, we introduced our first roll grooving technology and developed the first roll grooving tool and pioneered that with light wall pipe, moving the industry from a Schedule 40 into lighter wall pipe. And we continue to innovate. In the 80s and 90s, we had the development of Firelok product line, which is our complete fire protection product line. And in the early 2000s, we introduced installation-ready technology, which has been a platform that we've expanded on over really the last 18, 19 years.
So let's go back in history a little bit there. Back in 1919, what was it that made Victaulic kind of innovate the groove product? What was the reason for going from, what were they using back in 1919 that made you switch to an easier way?
Well, 100 years ago, we were actually, Ernest Tribe has the first patent for the first coupling, and it was used in military applications. So Victaulic stands for victory joint and hydraulics.
Oh, neat. Okay.
So we were used in the military to carry water and out into the field, and we were also used on the flamethrower to join as a joining method for that. So
right. So yeah, we just did our tour a little bit earlier today, and I believe it was Erica. Erica did the tour with us, and she was giving us all the information. The flamethrower was something that definitely stood out for us. So again, we're here at the Easton, Pennsylvania headquarters, where they manufacture a lot of the grooved fittings, mechanical tees, grooved couplings, elbows, tees, things like that. You guys entered fire protection in 1980?
Yes, with the Firelok product line, which was, in that introduction, we had rigid coupling, we had butterfly valves, and extended body check valves and sprinklers.
So what about when was it that you guys got into wet valves, dry valves, pre-action valves?
I think we saw the fire protection business as an extension of the mechanical side of the business that we had started to grow our business in. And we looked at how we could get involved with complete solutions in fire and expanded into that as an adjacent market.
So what are the benefits of using the Victaulic product from starting with an engineering standpoint? Why would I use a Victaulic product as opposed to the competition?
Well, you would use a Victaulic grooved product because certainly it builds confidence. It's very simple to install. It's quick to install, so you're improving your output or productivity in the field. And a Victaulic coupling is a union at every joint, so it's easy to service a system as well.
Right.
UL listed, FM approved, and also we have approvals throughout the world in the various countries.
Right. So it's very well known, and essentially it's the Kleenex of the coupling industry as well. No matter what kind of product you're using, people are asking for Vicks.
Yes, they actually use the name "Give me a Vic."
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Or
Yeah. So, from an installation standpoint, the installation goes much quicker. It's easier to service. You don't have to. You're not messing around with the products more on site. The engineering. When we went through the testing facility, we watched you guys not blow up a couple couplings because it was hard to get to that point, but we saw them pressure tested substantially above what they're listed for, which is, if you haven't seen it before, I don't know if there's any videos available. Hopefully I can get some, but it was neat to see the multiplication of what it's listed for and what it fails at. Just for the peace of mind, I'm still a contractor at heart, and it's good to see that, it's listed for 175. It's not going to fail at 176, especially being we test our systems at anywhere from 200 psi to 225.
Right. All of our systems are tested to meet UL and FM stringent standards, but we design for far above that.
Right.
So we put a lot of safety factor into our product, and we look at everything is engineered to a point that you can feel very confident in the field that you're not going to have an issue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We were in your we were over in the valve room there, the training center you guys have set up. The dry valve, that's what's the product number on the dry valve? Just
768.
The 768. And what I liked about that valve is the guy who was running the class, but not the class, he was just kind of showing us the valves. He wouldn't ease up the water pressure. There's no, typically when you're setting up a dry valve, you open up the water slowly and then you slowly close the 2-inch drain. He left the 2-inch drain shut and he hammered open the butterfly valve. Most of the dry valves out there, that's going to trip the system, and it was good to see that the what is it, 768? The 768 didn't trip at all. So I could see that being used for a tail end dry system on a wet system that has a fire pump installed. So that fire pump kicks on, you're not going to get your dry valve tripping at the end. We went over and we saw a bunch of the groove sprinklers. I've been talking a lot about the groove sprinklers on the podcasts. What's next for the groove sprinkler technology? You guys have it's obviously used for storage applications right now, but what's next? Are you guys going to eventually groove every sprinkler you guys manufacture, or what's coming up?
It's definitely a possibility. I mean, anything's possible in today's day and age. When you look at artificial intelligence and what they can do with that, even robotics, different manufacturing techniques, the hardest thing with fire protection is what can I make cost effective to use.
Right.
So, I mean, when you walk through the facility, you see we have 2,500 patents.
Mm-hmm.
Not every patent actually gets brought to market. So we have technology and different things that we've looked at for so many different applications. But the feasibility as far as is the market going to accept it,
Mm-hmm.
and can we feasibly manufacture it to a cost-effective solution for fire protection,
Right.
is a whole different story. And that's really where a lot of the engineering comes into play. So it's definitely something we're looking at as far as what that may look like. Can't really answer that.
Only the future will tell you. You're not going to let too many things out right now. That's cool. Now, as far as the product development of that, the groove sprinkler, what was the initial concept to final product? How long did it take you guys to go from concept to final product development and release?
I think that we looked at the sprinkler based on market feedback. We introduced the IGS
Mm-hmm.
1-inch groove system, And as we were getting feedback from customers, we had a lot of feedback as to folks asking, well, you're grooving every piece of 1-inch pipe. What about the sprinkler? Why have threads there? And as we talked to fitters who talked about repetitive motion syndrome and issues with wrenches, and we said, gee, there may be a great solution for us here. So I would tell you it's a couple of years in development, but it seemed to be what the market was asking for. And as we look at products that we move forward with and products that we move forward in the development process, we look for customer feedback and collaboration, because our solutions are solutions that our customers are looking to either build confidence in the field, help them to do things quicker.
Right.
And this seemed to be a great solution for exposed ceilings and for the storage market.
And it really comes down to installation repeatability. How can I ensure the confidence that every installation is going to be correct 100% of the time, whether I have an apprentice that's up there installing my heads or my 25-year veteran up on a lift installing heads. And that's really where the coupling excels. We don't have to worry about the feasibility with a sprinkler wrench now, and just the fatigue with that matter, or the possibility of damaging a sprinkler head because I'm putting too much torque on it. I can completely eliminate some of those variables in situation. Now I can get maybe my apprentice off a bucket that's taping and doping heads, and actually make some money for the company.
That's right.
Installing just as good as somebody who's been in the field for 5 to 10 years.
And typically I see a lot of the fitters, like Fire Sprinkler Podcast is pretty big on social media, paying attention to what people are saying. The fitters that aren't appreciative of the groove sprinkler aren't the fitters that are using them. The guys that are actually installing them are loving them. They're liking how quickly they can get the job done and they can move on to the next one. If I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. You're either going to evolve with the industry or the industry's going to evolve without you.
Yep.
So, the way the building code goes, the way the building code's evolving, and the way construction's going, they're sprinklering more and more buildings every year with every change of the building code and the fire code. I don't see there being a shortage of work. I see there being a shortage of employees and adequately trained employees. So
Exactly.
anything you can do to increase your productivity on the job sites isn't necessarily going to make it so you have to you're going to have guys sitting at home, you're taking away from the hours. It's putting you in a position as a company and as a fitter where you're more valuable, because I can do this much work an hour.
Yep. I mean, in the end, we're installing a life safety system.
That's right.
And I got to be sure that I have the confidence in the engineer, the owner, the contractor, and the patrons in that building.
Yep.
And with the products, the same products that are being used over here in North America are the same ones being used over halfway across the world.
Right.
So I got to be able to design something that can be installed effectively by person A and person B halfway across the world.
Yep.
And so we really take that to heart and try to introduce the best that we can to the market.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think we've seen that with the acceptance of the groove sprinkler, as well as IGS, and the captured coupling on the Victaulic. All of those as a system really allow a field installer to be up to speed quickly, and you can have somebody on the job the second day grooving pipe.
Yeah,
with a tool,
exactly.
Putting in heads and putting pipe together, and I think that, to your point, is very valuable.
Evolve with the industry or get left in the dust is essentially what it comes down to, right? Because if you're not going to do it, somebody else is.
Right.
And they're going to make money doing it.
Right. And a lot of the ideas that we have come from impact from the field. Hey, this is a pain on the job site. Hey, this could be better. If there was a better way to do this or that, a lot of that comes from the generations of fitters that are out there. That's what keeps us employed and keeps us innovating and keeps us, hey, what else can we draw up? It's being on the job site, understanding what's going on, coming back to the drawing board and saying, hey, what do you guys think about this?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to have in the field. And that's really where it all stems from.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree. Another thing I want to talk to you about is the Victaulic Vortex system. What kind of applications are you using in it, and how has it been? It's I wouldn't say it's a fairly new product. It's been around for 10, 12 years now. What was the process in getting that developed? That's a very interesting product. That's essentially, it's the only one of its class right now,
Yeah,
right?
we were the first folks that had the hybrid extinguishing system. That was our innovation into the marketplace. And we're seeing a lot of growth in combustion turbines, those applications, machinery spaces, some data centers, control rooms, clean rooms, glove box, and semiconductor processing equipment. So
Right.
those are typically the applications that we're seeing today. What we are seeing in the future is NFPA is looking at developing a new standard that's in process, 770, which will be a hybrid standard. And I think as that continues to be worked on, that's been out for public comment, as we have a standard and a testing standard for hybrid, you'll see the growth of hybrid systems used more and more in the marketplace.
So as the innovator of the technology, is NFPA looking to Victaulic to assist and develop that, or do they kind of take away, not take away, but do they look at what you guys are doing and try to, not reinvent it, but do they try to pull the reins in a little bit? Which do they do? Do they try to pull you guys in, or do they kind of let you guys go, and do they kind of develop this new standard around the technology that you guys have created?
The new standard is developed based on a committee,
Mhm.
and it has several experts, either in the special hazards or in the gaseous technologies that are in the marketplace. We have been on that committee and have been part of helping to form the new standard, but it's done collaboratively across the industry.
Yep.
So we're involved because we care, and we're very interested in having hybrid technology with its own standard because of the value that it brings to the marketplace.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar with the Victaulic Vortex systems, I'll share a bunch of videos and a bunch of information on the things on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those things. It's very interesting. What else you guys want to talk about today?
I think it's kind of cool just the fact that the guy who invented Vortex is in this building. I mean, how cool is that? And Vortex is actually one of the reasons why I joined this company.
Yep.
Now I sit in a desk next to his.
Really?
How cool is that?
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
And it's that whole system it's kind of hard for old school mindset to wrap their heads around it, where it almost seems too good to be true.
Yep.
But the technology makes sense, and I really see there's a lot of future there.
Mhm.
And it's pretty cool to see how the industry is starting to look towards it, starting to continue to develop it, and it's just going to take this to a whole nother level of protection, because again, that's what it comes down to.
Exactly. It comes down to protecting property and life, right? And whoever can do it the best is going to be the successful companies. Chris, I understand you guys have some new innovations with VicFlex. Why don't we talk a little bit about that?
Sure thing. So first we can touch on the Victaulic VS1, which is a flexible dry pendant assembly. So basically it takes all the technology, your standard hard barrel dry pendant, but now you have the flexibility of a flexible dry sprinkler.
So, okay, I've seen these. I've used them. I love them. But I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that don't understand how they work. So can you explain how you can take a dry barrel, which is typically a solid one-piece unit, and turn it into a flexible fitting?
Sure, I'll try to explain it in as layman's terms as
Audio.
possible.
It's all audio, so
Definitely.
we can send some pictures up on social media. But
For sure.
yeah, do your best here.
So it's really the same exact concept as your standard dry sprinkler. So as soon as you reach a certain temperature, your bulb's going to break. Your inner tube assembly is going to shift, which moves your Belleville seal, allows water to flow through your sprinkler. Same exact concept, but instead of having a hard internal barrel, it's a flexible component. So that flexible component is then moved once your glass bulb breaks, which moves your Belleville seal and allows water to flow through.
So what was the reason for coming out with a flexible dry pendant?
And it really comes to having safe installations. In today's day and age, you have to know specific temperatures of your ambient as well as indoor and outdoor temperatures. And from there, you have to select your correct length dry sprinkler. Easier said than done a lot of times. Every manufacturer has their different charts to go off of. Your measurements might change based on discussion or type of sprinkler. So the flexible dry pendant allows you to take your heated space and push it a lot further back into the building. So it completely eliminates almost any chance of a freeze-up happening whatsoever.
Right.
So now we can ensure that we're going to have proper installation, proper protection of an unheated space.
What are the size? What are the different sizes? I'm sure they're customizable, but what are the kind of the minimum and the maximum?
Sure
lengths that
thing.
you guys
So
have?
there's three standard lengths: 38-inch, 50, and 58-inch.
Okay.
So it's a fairly long assembly, which
Yeah,
allows
absolutely.
you to have a certain amount of flexibility to go through different penetrations, then tie back into the ceiling.
And I understand there's no different hydraulic characteristics for any engineers out there. It's essentially designed the same as a standard K56.
That's exactly on.
So the testing requirements for that just follows the same testing requirements for a standard dry barrel?
That's correct.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we can also
Yeah,
talk.
let's get into the different things you guys have. Not just the dry barrels, but
Sure thing. So another component or another new product that has just been released within the last couple days actually is the Victaulic AB6 assembly, which is for coolers or freezer applications.
Okay.
So this utilizes a bracket assembly that mounts directly to a cooler or freezer panel. Can work for any type of sealing, whether it's flat, scalloped, any sort of perforation. And it allows adjustability of the dry pendant, so you can ensure that you're going to have an exact installation every single time underneath the cooler.
Really?
So completely independent of your cooler thickness, allows you the flexibility to use a flexible hose to tie back to your branch line. So now we completely eliminate any sort of cause of differential movement, potentially breaking up a foam that you're using to seal off the cooler from your ambient temperatures. So definitely go and check that one out as well. So we're pretty excited about it and have very good feedback from field as well.
And what's that product called again?
It's the Victaulic AB6 dry pendant assembly.
AV6 dry pendant assembly. Chris, Susan, thanks for coming on the Fire Sprinkler Podcast and talking about your products. Is there anything else you want to let everybody know? Any new products you guys want to tell everybody to keep an eye out for?
Yeah, I'd like to tell everybody to keep an eye out for our new 1-bolt coupling,
Yep.
which will be launching, has launched in the United States, will be launching in Canada in the next month.
Okay.
So we've taken installation-ready technology, pushed the coupling on, and tightened. We've taken the 009 technology and built it into a 1-bolt coupling.
Yep.
So it allows you to basically tighten 1 bolt. You have the confidence of only having to check the pad-to-pad conformation on one side of the coupling. It installs really twice as fast as the 009 and a lot faster than any take-apart coupling.
So let's touch on those a little bit more. Essentially, you take the technology that you guys use for the IGS coupling with the it's not a washer on the end, but it's got
It's a linkage. So you have
Yep.
a linkage on one side,
Yep.
and then your traditional bolt and nut on the other side.
And what sizes are they available?
So we expanded, the 1-bolt coupling has expanded to be 1.25 up to 2.5 is the first introduction, and then it will be available in 3 and 4 inch in about 2 months.
Really?
So it'll go up to 4-inch size.
So what is the is it just an issue with the listing requirements, getting them listed, or is it just availability of the product? You're building up the product right now.
Well, there was so much demand in the marketplace. Again, we did this product because we came out with the 1-bolt IGS product.
Yep.
And customers, the first thing they said to us when they saw it was, "Can you make this in larger sizes? We
Yep.
love this. It's really simple.
Yep.
I only have to check one connection. I don't have to alternate tightening." And so we said, hey, I think we need to look at this. We looked at how we could take that technology into larger sizes. And rather than wait for the 3 and 4 inch to be ready, we decided to launch in 2 phases. So the only reason why the 3 and the 4 is later is we just made a choice to get the smaller sizes out first.
Yep.
And then follow with the 3 and 4 inch, which sometimes we elect to do that. We may do all sizes at once, and sometimes we'll do it in phases.
So what are the what kind of torque requirements do you guys have for the 1-bolt couplings?
We have no torque requirements, so you
No
just
torque
tighten
requirements.
it until it's pad to pad, and it's done.
Pad to pad.
Confidence
Awesome.
right there.
That's right. Tighten it till it's tight, and then you're good to go. Awesome. Thanks for coming on, guys. If you want any more information, how can anybody get a hold of you, or where can they find the information?
We have a website, www.victaulic.com, which has any of our videos, new product releases, submittals, lots of information on our products and its applications. So that's a great place to get any information on Victaulic.
And social media?
We have an Instagram account, Facebook account, Victaulic. So kind of hard
Victaulic.
to miss. Not too many of us out there.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to take another second to thank everybody from the Victaulic Company for inviting us out there and giving us a tour of the foundry. That was an amazing experience. It was great to meet everybody, shake everybody's hands, and learn a little bit more about learn more about the Victaulic products that are again manufactured in America. If you get the chance to go to Easton, Pennsylvania to tour the manufacturing facility, jump on that. It was profound. What they're doing at the Victaulic Company, it seems like they're trying to evolve the industry in the right direction. Trying to reinvent the wheel a little bit, yes, but at the same time, I think everything they're doing is going to be beneficial to the industry as a whole. a lot of people think that what they're doing by cutting down the installation costs is take away jobs and man hours off a project. But the way the building codes and the requirements to have sprinkler in all these new buildings is going, I don't think it's going to be a matter of taking away jobs, because I think there's going to be more and more projects that are going to require fire sprinkler installations. So I think it's just a matter of keeping up with the installations. I don't want it to get to a time in the industry where there's not enough manpower for sprinklers to be installed. So I think it's going to benefit everybody. Number one, you are going to be saving on man hours, which is going to make the systems more cost effective to go in, which is going to be beneficial to building owners, general contractors. The maintenance and care of these systems is getting, I won't say easier, but it's getting more strict, while being more cost effective. So I think what Victaulic's doing is beneficial to the industry. I know a lot of people are gonna probably crucify me and disagree with me, but that's fine. That's kind of the idea of this podcast, is to get the conversation about the industry going. So if anybody out there wants to have a conversation and jump in on a conversation, feel free to reach out to me at chris@firesprinklerpodcast.com. Again, you have all my contact information for social media. You can find me at Facebook at Fire Sprinkler Podcast, Instagram Fire Sprinkler Podcast, and Twitter at Fire SPRK Podcast. They wouldn't let me have enough characters to make Fire Sprinkler Podcast for Twitter. But again, if you have any questions or comments, or you have something that you want to chime in on the Fire Sprinkler Podcast with, feel free to reach out to me, and let's get a conversation going. The industry's changing, and the only way everybody's going to be able to keep up with it is to just keep learning. Okay? Like I said multiple times, you either evolve with the industry, or the industry evolves without you. So thanks again to everybody for listening. I've got a couple things coming up here real soon. A lot of nice conversations with a couple manufacturers. Hopefully I can start pumping out some videos and give you guys some stuff to watch on YouTube. Again, Fire Sprinkler Podcast. Please leave me a review on iTunes. Fire Sprinkler Podcast is available on Spotify. Thanks everybody for all the support. And again, we will be at the NFSA annual seminar and expo in Nashville from May 15th to 18th. I will be in booth number 330 near the front. Stop in, stop by. I'll have a little bit of goodies there. I don't know what they're going to be yet, but as soon as I know, I will let you guys know. Stickers are always a giveaway for sure, but I'm trying to figure out what I can do for other little goodies and giveaways. So, again, I'll be in Nashville from May 15th to 18th, going on a little family vacation here at the beginning of March. Hopefully I can meet up with some good sprinkler people down in Florida, March 7th to 18th. So if you are in the Florida area and you want to sit down and talk sprinkler, reach out to me, Chris@firesprinklerpodcast.com. Thanks everybody for the support.